Hey everybody, it's Casey hanging out with you on the Wall to Wall Country Show. After the big weekend of 4th of July, everybody's trying to get back into the swing of things here on this Wednesday show of mine. Hopefully you guys had an awesome 4th of July, and a safe one too, of course. And hopefully you enjoyed some of the great programming that Penn's Peak Radio offered over the past weekend. But we now need to get back down to business. And, of course, in the second hour of every show, we like to feature a great artist here on the Wall to Wall Country Show. And we're so excited to have this guy on board. He is the team leader to a great group of guys who are setting a different level of standard in country music down there in Texas. So happy to have on board Mr. Jamie Talbert of the Jamie Talbert and the Band of Demons. Hey, Jamie, how are you?
I'm awesome. How you doing, Casey?
I am. I'm refreshed and feeling good. Back at it.
Oh gosh, yeah. We had 3 shows back to back over 4th of July weekend, and I'm a little bush, but I'm ready to do it again.
Awesome. Well, that sounds good. And you guys know how to get it done. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But before we get into everything that's going on with you right now, you do have a little bit of history going on, and I'd like my listening audience to hear a little bit about Jamie Talbert, where he came from, and how he ended up with this guys who have kind of this demonic feel about them, the crazy feel of the Band of Demons. Can you give us a quick, brief background of where you hail from and how this all came about for you, Jamie?
Oh, absolutely. I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas. Still live here, and kind of a homebody, but I grew up in a very musical household where I had a lot of diverse influences, and my mom and dad played anywhere from Otis Redding to Led Zeppelin to classic country, and the singer-songwriters of the 70s and 80s like Jim Croce and James Taylor. So I was very fortunate, and I've always been attracted to music. I love it. I love lyrics. I love the beat. I love the sounds, and it just kind of hit me. And in my career as what I do during the day, one of my buddies said, "Man, you love music so much, and you've been writing your whole life. Why don't you just go get a guitar?" So at 25, I went and got a guitar and learned 2.5 chords. I almost got a third one now. So the thing is, and basically all music is in songwriting is it's really funny. Is it comes from it's the same thing. You just basically putting feelings to music. Mm-hmm. And the neat thing about it is about 6-7 years ago, we rebranded what we were doing and added the name of the Band of Demons because we're all big Charlie Daniels fans.
Ah.
And we play more than just one style of music. We play what we love to play, but we also love to play every different type of genre as well.
Right. That was
and the Band of Demons joined in. It sounded something like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I read a little bit, too, about you guys. You like to do, on stage, like a free-for-all mashup of some of those different artists that you guys know and love and the different genres, and you put it together, and it takes your audience sometimes maybe by a little surprise.
Well, you got to keep it fresh. You got to keep it original, We do play some covers where we mix some things up, like we'll take Charlie Robeson, My Hometown, and in the middle of it we'll break it down into When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin and finish out with Charlie Robeson, My Hometown, or we'll take Wagon Wheel by Old Crow Medicine Show and then turn it into kind of a rock song, and then in the middle of that we throw in Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train and then, finish out the night with it.
Well, so let me ask you this then. On your playlist, when you guys are stepping out on stage, are you one of those artists who follow it? Okay, this is what we're going to do. This is when we're going to do that mashup. This is how we're going to end it. Or are you guys like, okay, this is what we've got. We're just going to throw it out there and see how it lands in an hour?
We come out with a pretty predetermined set list, but we have been known to deviate from that from time to time.
Okay. All right. Well, that's cool. I mean, so it keeps it fresh for your fans who come back time and time again. Every once in a while, you might change it up, even though they're comfortable with what you guys do, but then you like to throw in a little wing or knock them off their feet a little bit.
Well, you're right. The thing is, you got to keep evolving. You got to keep adding And so, you know, a lot of times you have to, you got to take some of the stuff, even though you love playing some of the songs. Some of those songs go by the wayside after a certain period of time, and it's basically, we like to call it addition by subtraction.
I like it. So you've had a couple of albums out there. You kind of got started in this a little while ago with some of your first album that you had out there. And when you say you evolved, now you're evolving into this brand new album that you guys have out there with some great music on it. And I'd like to talk about some of the songs that are on there. Now, your debut album was back out there in 2015. That was called Southbound Train. Am I correct on that? Or was it called Tomorrow Night?
It's called Tomorrow Night.
Okay. The single was Southbound Train.
That was one of the singles, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm trying to get my notes straight here.
Oh, it's all right.
And then, so you guys, you kind of massaged that a little bit, moved on to 2016, and now with 2017, you kicked off this year with another brand new album. It's your sophomore album, and it's called Do It. Am I correct? And it's got 10 songs on it.
That is accurate, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the music on there. I have a couple of songs that I want to play for my listening audience to kind of give them a feel. And I've listened to a couple of them, and I think one of the things that people are going to realize with this album, maybe it's this one that you actually did it on purpose or whatever, but each song has its own identity. Like sometimes you get a CD or you get a set of music from an artist, and you hate to say it, but sometimes all the music sounds the same. You guys have some serious diversity in the music that you're putting on these albums.
We like to put out something for everybody. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The way I can describe it. And I would go absolutely outside of my mind if I had to listen to one thing for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said before, you know, being a songwriting, the songs are just emotions put to music a lot of times. And if you were just to have one emotion for the rest of your life, you'd go crazy.
Right. Well,
that's the whole point.
Right. You know, and you want those emotions to actually reach out and for people to connect and have that connectivity to each song in its own right for something different, bring to mind a different occasion, bring to mind a different feeling, bring to mind a different memory or something that they can connect to, happy, sad, or indifferent. And I think the songs, 3 of the songs that I listened to off this album, I thought were wonderful. We're gonna play a song here in just a minute, but out of the 3, you tell me which one you would like to chat about first. We have Tired of the Rings, Whiskey Drinkin', which I love, by the way, and Wildfire. Which one should we kind of wake up our audience with first?
Well, let's go ahead and let's talk about Wildfire.
Okay, so that is the single that's off this album right now, correct?
Yes, ma'am. We're actually getting geared up here next week. In fact, Whiskey Drink is going to come out. Wildfire's been out to radio since the first week of January, and we've experienced quite a bit of success off of it, and we sure do appreciate everybody that's been going out there and requesting it. But Wildfire is a song that was a poem that was sent to me by my son's godfather when we were getting geared up to go back into the studio towards the end of 2016. He goes, "Hey man, what do you think about this?" Mm-hmm. And I read the lyrics, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this reminds me of a time earlier in my life." And it's, you know, Wildfire just basically comes down to the fact it's that one person that you just fell hard for, and it was just explosive and fiery, and it was over as quick as it started.
It's a very big and very powerful song. I mean, like you said, it's kind of a ballad of a very short-lived love gone wrong, and feeling empty at the end of it. You know, at the end of the love affair, however short. But man, that thing it's powerful. You've got a unique video out for it.
Yes, ma'am. We did a lyric video, and we were really pleased with how it came out, because one thing that a lot of people, you know, there's several different types of people out there. There's people listen to a song because a person gets, it's in the background of their mind. It's just kind of background noise.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's people who listen to the actual lyrics and, basically what we're in the business of doing is transferring emotion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what we're trying to do is transfer that emotion to whoever's listening to our music, and that's huge.
Well, this
so somebody can actually feel it and reminisce about something that happened in their life, and I think a lot of people out there can relate to that person in their life or that person in their past that just really swept them off their feet and then literally swept them under the rug.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, actually. I mean, it's sad, but man, I mean, it's just a wonderful tune. And I watched the video too. I listened to the music and I watched the video. Now you're this is doing pretty good. This particular song is getting up there in Texas radio, and it's getting out there, and you're getting reports of it climbing really well and having some popularity.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are you getting feedback from your fans on your Facebook page or when you're performing it? What's the feel coming from your fans about this particular tune?
Pretty much what I've gotten back and what we've gotten back has been people get it. They understand. They feel it. And that's the whole thing. It's relatable. Mm-hmm. People can relate and connect with it, and that's all you can ever really hope to do when you're playing music. And, I've had several people say, Wildfire, wow. That, I've been there. Uh-huh. That's basically what a lot of them have told me personally.
That's awesome. Been there, done that, feel the pain.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. I think if you have a quick minute, what I'd like to do is if you could hang on the line for me for just a second, what I'd like to do is actually take a quick break and come back with that and give everybody a listen for that, and we can chat about it for a few more minutes. And then I'd like to move on to another song. But do you have a few more minutes, Jamie? Can you hang in there?
Sure can.
Awesome. We're going to be back with more of Jamie Talbert and the Band of Demons, a tune that came from a poem set to music. And I want you guys to really listen to the words and just feel the power of this, because as strong and powerful as a quick romance could be, that's where this song takes you onto that journey. So I want you guys to listen to it. We're going to be back in just a bit. We're going to take a break. More with Jamie Talbert in just a minute, right here on Wall to Wall Country and Penn's Peak Radio. I gotta say, every time I listen to that song, Jamie, it just really wants to mush my heart up and just tear it to pieces. It's so powerful.
It's that bittersweet meat grinder right there.
Yeah, that's a perfect word for it. I think that's an excellent perfect word. I really think people should, go to your website and check it out, Jamie Talbert and the BOD.com, bandofdemons.com. Check it out and watch that Wildfire lyric video, because it's mesmerizing. It's just mesmerizing when you really get to see the words and hear the words and listen to the music. So I think people need to check that out on your website. Moving on to one of the other songs on the Do It album. Now, this is off your recent album. Can people get their hands on this hard copy-wise, Jamie?
At the shows.
Okay.
We're setting up some things where we'll be able to get that out there. You can download it now off of iTunes, CD Baby, Amazon, any of your internet.
Okay.
Record stores, basically. You
Sure.
can get them all over the place.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Now, I read a few reviews about this other song from your website and off of the YouTube or whatever about whiskey drinking. And I read that one, or listened to that one earlier today, too. And that is just a great, fun song. Again, very different from Wildfire. Tell us a little bit about whiskey drinking.
It's pretty simple. When you get a little bit older and you quote unquote settle down and you're in your working career and you're married and you got kids, this actually goes for men and women. This was written from a man's point of view, obviously, but it was kind of one of those things, we've been working hard. The boys are going out. We're going to get with them. We're going to go out and we're going to have a good time. And, your significant other at home probably won't like it, but, it's just one night.
So they say.
Oh, trust me, it was just one night.
Oh, you
I
do?
promise, honey.
You do that so well. Have you had a lot of practice at saying that?
A time or 12.
Well, this is a great song. I really like it. And like I said, when we first started talking about this CD, it sounds like, it sounds like you were determined to do this where it had a feel. Every song has its own identity. Every song has its own feel. Every song has its own connection to your fans and the listener. And so far, out of the two songs, I think you've really established that. Was that a challenge for you guys to pick the 10 songs that you wanted to create this Do It CD?
We thought it was going to be. And it really wound up being a really pleasurable experience. That's what I was talking about, the evolving part of it is, Todd Conger is my partner in the band. He's the band leader, and me, him, and Tyler Henderson, who plays he's the band leader for Tracy Byrd. We all sat down and hashed some stuff out, and that was the really big light bulb for me personally as a songwriter on this whole project, was learning to seek other people's advice and and having the opportunity to be creative with other people and be part of a creative process more than just a single-minded approach. And I think that allowed me personally to grow as a musician, and they all just kind of came together. Those were the 10 songs we planned on putting on the album, and that's just kind of how it wound up happening.
That's pretty amazing, because I don't think it flows that easily most of the time.
No, it normally doesn't. But we had great people in the studio. We had Stormy Cooper, and we had Lyndon Hughes that really came in and helped direct our focus and attention. And it was a very, very well-oiled process. It went very quickly.
Now, this was a different process. This one, was full sound production, all the assistants along the line, which is a little different from the first album that you guys had, Tomorrow Night. The sound, do you feel that the sound and the feel of the albums are different simply because of the way it was done?
Without question.
Okay.
Without question.
Okay. So, because Tomorrow Night you guys did a little bit more local.
Oh, very.
In somebody's garage or something.
Basically, yes. It was more of a home studio, kind of a very organic, we're going to throw this out there and see how it does kind of process. And this one had a lot of forethought that went into it. And there was some pre-production that we did on it, which was, to me, made the whole process itself go much more smoothly. That's the worst thing you want to do, is go spend a bunch of money, go to the studio, and you get in the studio and you're not prepared. I was very fortunate that Todd and Tyler, they did a great job helping me get prepared personally to be ready to step in the studio and go and lay it down.
Well, and I think you'll find, as a listener or a fan, when you get the first one out there, people are okay with it and they like it and everything like that. But then when you get a little bit better quality, not that the songs may be all that different or whatever, the songs are the songs, and how you perform them is how you perform them. But at the presentation stage, when you can crank up your stereo and you've got these big powerful songs coming at you and everything sounds clean and crisp and all together, is that a goal of yours now, rather than before, to be able to reproduce that on stage, or do you still like the rawness of it on stage?
I'll say this. I think that if you can get close to that, or in some points even better than that on stage, is what your goal is.
Okay.
You know, there's so many times that I've gone, and you've probably done the same. You'll hear somebody on the radio, and you're like, oh, I really love that. And then you go see them live, and you're like, oh, that sucked.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I mean, there's so many things that can be done nowadays when somebody does a record or an album in the studio that makes them sound eons better than they actually do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're always striving to be better than what we did.
Okay.
In the studio. And, you know, obviously this is an evolution. There's things that I'm personally working on. Everybody in our organization, we are constantly trying to better ourselves and better our craft.
Okay, all right.
You want to keep stepping. You want to keep stepping one step at a time in a forward position. You don't do the Cotton Eye Joe.
Right. And, you know, and then, you know, the presentation on stage, if people can be, you know, like, wow, that really sounds, because they're going to fall in love with the music on your CD. You know, they're going to fall in love with that. And obviously you want to be able to present that very similar feeling, very similar connectivity and all that while they're on stage. Just like you said, you know, you go to listen to somebody and you're like, I'm kind of disappointed because it's not as good as, you know, it's, and I know there are a few things depending on the acoustics and the venue and all that other kind of stuff. But if you can present it in the best light possible as it was produced on a production, I think people will like that you're striving for that, at least. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. If you're not striving for that, because this is the way that we actually look at it is, those people come to see you. They pay their hard-earned money to come see something that's going to make them have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see something. They don't want to pay for mediocre.
Right.
And by the way, they shouldn't pay for mediocre.
Right.
They want to go and enjoy themselves. They don't want to just show up and say, "Oh, I'm at a bar or I'm at a show, and man, that just isn't anything like what I heard on the album."
Right.
Did I even come to the right venue? You know, that kind of deal. And so we're always striving to be better.
Okay. Well,
our next show, we want it to be better than the one we just had.
Nice. Well, that's good. That's good. I wish all artists, you know, really kind of strive for that. I think there are a few that tend to fall back a little bit and they're like, whatever. But, you know, you're right. And, you know, people do. They spend their hard-earned money. They want to be taken away from their problems and their worries for an hour. They just want to, you know, have a good time and not think about the car payment. They don't want to think about their kids needing braces and that they got to work harder next week because they need more money. And if they can walk away going, wow, that was a freaking awesome hour and I had a great time, they're going to be your fans forever. You know what I mean?
It's all about taking care of those out there who are taking the time to come and listen.
Awesome.
That's the most important thing.
Well, I agree. And I think what we're going to do real quick here is play your next song, Whiskey Drinkin'. But before we do that, one more song I like to play at the end of my show. And it's another tune that I have here that I listened to that I liked. This whole show gets recorded and gets played back Sunday. So if anybody missed any of it or if your fans missed it, you can tag on your Facebook page and stuff. This whole show will air on Sunday morning starting at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And I like to end my show to remind people of the talent that I had on. And I'd like you to tell us a little bit about this song because I'm going to play this one at the end of the show. Another kind of tug on the heartstrings, a little tear to the eye tune called Tired of the Rings. Now, don't make me cry, Jamie. Don't be getting me. I don't want to be crying over here.
When I first started doing these openers in Texas, you know, about 17 years ago, I've been very fortunate to meet several people in the music business that have become lifelong friends. And one of them is a guy by the name of Alex Wheaton. He's the lead guitar player for Miranda Lambert.
Okay.
And when we were putting stuff together to get ready to go and do the pre-production and get ready to go into the studio, I called him up and said, "Hey, man, because we'd been talking about writing together for a long time. And with his touring schedule and my schedule, it never has worked out to where we got to sit down together and actually pen something out together and put something together, basically." And he sent me this one. He goes, I wrote this about 10 years ago, and it's not finished. He goes, "Tell me what you think." So I loved the premise of it because he's a married man and I'm a married man, and when you're married, things can get a little sideways at times, and marriage is something that you gotta work at it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you give any disregard to that work, or you slough off, so to speak, things can kind of get left quickly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. Okay, they're wired differently.
Uh-huh.
It's a beautiful thing. That's what God put us on the planet for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a beautiful thing. At times, it can just make you want to pull your hair out. If you've seen my picture, I don't have any to pull out. So, but the point is, I got to go in and help finish that song, and we're really pleased with how it came out, because it's just a story of a couple that's been together 20, 25 years. Guy comes home, he's been out at the bar, and they get in an argument, and the thing is, regardless of whether they argue, fuss, or fight, at the end of the day, they still love each other.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're tired of having that ring on their finger, they still love each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the main point.
Yeah.
But, love takes work.
Mm-hmm.
And the good news is that they both, in the song, they decided not to quit
Right.
their job.
Right. I just think it's interesting because, everybody who's married, well, most anyway, are gonna be wearing those rings, and they're so symbolic to something. And it's always like you watch a fight, and one of the first things of someone who feels like they're gonna give up what do? They take their ring off and they throw it or something, and it's like, I'm through, and it's always about the rings. And I really enjoyed that song, taking that symbolism, but just taking it that step further, but realizing that, you might get tired of that thing and that little piece of jewelry or that little piece of gold or the little piece of silver. But like you said, at the end of the day, if love's all there, then, just keep the ring on and it's just fine. You'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah. You got to. You already got the world against you when you're married.
Wow.
No, seriously. I mean, that's the thing. Divorce. There's more divorces in America than there are marriages that make it.
Right. Oh, I'm
and
sure.
Hey, it ain't for everybody. But I've always been a glutton for punishment, I guess. I'm one of those guys. I've been fortunate. I've been married to my wife for literally 12 years now, and it ain't always easy. Yeah. But then again, I ain't always easy to get along with.
Uh-huh. Well,
so I can see just as much work on her part as it is mine, if not more so.
Well, congratulations on the 12 years, by the way. That's awesome.
Appreciate that.
So it sounds like you're working it, but we're going to play that song. It's called "Tired of the Rings," coming up at the end of the show. We're going to have to take one more quick break here, and I'm going to cut you loose and let you get back to what you're doing. But real quick, if people want to get in touch with you, Jamie, and send some notes out or send a comment or find out when you guys are touring and where you're touring or where you're heading, what's some of the best ways to reach out to the Jamie Talbert and the Band of Demons? What's some of the best ways to do that?
Just go to jamietalbert.com.
Okay.
You can would love it if you went and said hi to us on Facebook at Jamie Talbert Music, and go follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay.
We're pretty easy to find. Just Jamie Talbert and the Band of Demons. It'll take you all to those places. So.
Now, are you the guys who are responding on the social medias, or is it too crazy for you to keep up with all of that?
I've been very fortunate. Todd Conger, the band leader, he handles the majority of it. But if there is something that requires my personal attention, I will get on there and handle it myself.
Awesome. Well, it's nice.
So you're gonna get either him or me
Okay.
on those two avenues.
Well, that's awesome. So the fans know that they're actually talking to you guys and communicating with you, and not some guy who sits in a dungeon somewhere.
Oh, no. This is all in house, so to speak.
One last thing, Jamie. What's a wink, wink, nudge, nudge that's down the pike for Jamie Talbert and the Band of Demons that we can let our fans know about? So encourage them to check you guys out. Something that they can look forward to.
Go request whiskey drinking at all of your country radio stations, because we are looking to crank it up this summer. Let's just put it that way.
All right. Well, we're going to play that song. We're going to play that song next so that they know what they're looking for and what they're listening for. But, Jamie, I have to say thank you. I know you're a busy guy. You guys are on fire doing all kinds of stuff. I know you do most of your stuff down in Texas, but if you ever find your way up to the Northeast, Penn's Peak Radio doors right here in PA are always open for you. We'd love to see you right here in our studios.
Oh, I'd love to make it by there. And I appreciate you taking the time to visit with me, and I'm glad to see that you made it through 4th of July okay.
Yeah, I'm alive. I'm alive. But you guys, too. And, you be safe out there. And I'll let everybody, I'll mention it a couple more times about the social medias and how people can get a hold of you. But great music on this album, guys. Do it. As a matter of fact, go out and do it. Go get this Do It album. 10 songs from these guys. Lots of great music. Check out the Wildfire video, the lyric video on their website. Whiskey Drinking going to be the next one that's out there. You can get your hands on it on the electronic venues or go to a show. And these guys will hand you one personally. How's that?
Sounds great to me. I appreciate you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jamie. I'm going to cut you loose. We're going to take care of that. And we're going to play that Whiskey Drinking song coming up in just a minute. More music from the Jamie Talbert and the Band of Demons coming up right after this here on Penn's Peak Radio.